Get the in! Put your hands up!
What begins as a routine traffic stop takes a horrifying turn when officers detect a strange, putrid smell coming from the vehicle.
On a quiet night in July 2021, a routine traffic stop in Essex, Maryland, uncovered a horror that would haunt a community forever. In the trunk of Nicole Michelle Johnson's car, hidden among bags and blankets, police found the decomposing bodies of her 7-year-old niece, Joshlyn, and 5-year-old nephew, Larry, starved, neglected, and left to rot for months, one for over a year. The woman entrusted to protect them had turned their lives into a nightmare, driving through Baltimore with their remains as if nothing was wrong. What could have led up to this moment? Stick with us to find out, and drop a comment, telling us where you're watching from. In the heart of Dayton, Ohio, a family's story began, one marked by love, struggle, and secrets that would unravel in tragedy. At the center is Nicole Michelle Johnson, a woman whose early life remains cloaked in mystery. Born around 1985, Nicole grew up in a family that faced its share of challenges. We know little about her childhood, her dreams, or the path she walked before her name became tied to a heartbreaking crime. But what we do know paints a picture of a complicated family, where caregiving often fell to others, and bonds were tested by hardship. Nicole had at least one sister, Joshlyn Johnson, the mother of 2 young children, Joshlyn and Larry. The sisters' lives were rooted in Dayton, a city of close-knit neighborhoods and working-class families. But their family wasn't traditional. Joshlyn, from the age of 7, was raised not by her parents but by her aunt and uncle, James Phillips and Evelyn Phillips Simon. This arrangement hints at early struggles, perhaps instability or loss, that shaped the family's dynamics. It was a pattern that would repeat years later, with devastating consequences. James and Evelyn became Joshlyn's anchor, providing the stability she needed. They were loving but firm, raising her with care in their Dayton home. Years later, Joshlyn became a mother to Joshlyn and Larry, 2 bright, inseparable siblings. Joshlyn, the older sister, was nurturing, often looking after her little brother, Larry. Family members recall her changing his diapers, tying his shoes, and holding his hand through life's small moments. James, who saw the kids as his own, described them as a team, Joshlyn's protective spirit guiding her brother's every step. In 2019, Joshlyn made a bold move. She left Dayton for Maryland, seeking a fresh start. But life wasn't easy, and Joshlyn faced challenges that made parenting difficult. She turned to her sister, Nicole, entrusting Joshlyn and Larry to her care in November of that year. It was meant to be temporary, a way to give Joshlyn time to get back on her feet. Nicole, now living in Baltimore, became the children's guardian, but what should have been a safe haven would soon spiral into something unimaginable. Nicole's life before this moment is a blank page. There are no records of her schooling, her job, or her relationships. She stepped into the role of caregiver, but what was her life like? Was she ready for the responsibility? There's a shadow of another story, a Nicole Johnson in Washington, D.C. From 2012, a computer analyst with a history of mental illness, including multiple personality disorder and a breakdown that led her to harm her own children. Could this be the same Nicole? Without proof, we can't say. For now, she remains the Nicole Johnson of Baltimore, a woman whose choices would soon shock the world. What we do know is that Nicole's relationship with Joshlyn was strained. The sisters, once close, faced tensions as Nicole took on the role of caregiver. Joshlynn's move to Maryland left Joshlyn and Larry in a new city, far from the family who loved them. James and Evelyn, still in Dayton, stayed connected, cherishing memories of the kids' laughter and love. But as Nicole's life in Baltimore unfolded, the weight of her responsibilities and perhaps her own struggles began to cast a shadow over the children's future. Nicole Michelle Johnson's life in Baltimore was a puzzle with missing pieces. Beyond her role as aunt and caregiver to her niece Joshlyn and nephew Larry, we know little about the people in her world. No husband, no partner, no close friends step into the spotlight of this story. Her life revolved around the 2 children entrusted to her by her sister, Joshlyn, a responsibility that would unravel into a nightmare. Nicole's bond with Joshlyn was breaking. By March 2021, Joshlyn was desperate to get her children back. She called Nicole, sent messages, and even set up a meeting to reunite with Joshlyn and Larry, but Nicole never showed up. She stopped answering, cutting Joshlyn off completely. The sisters' relationship, once a lifeline, had crumbled, leaving Joshlyn and Larry caught in the middle. What was happening in Nicole's world to make her pull away? The answer lies in a series of choices that led to an unthinkable tragedy. In May 2020, Nicole, Joshlyn, and Larry were living at the Regal Inn, a rundown hotel on Baltimore's Pulaski Highway. Life was unstable, money was tight, and the weight of caring for 2 young children was heavy. One day, Nicole snapped. She later told police that 7-year-old Joshlyn had been misbehaving, sneaking food from the fridge. In a burst of anger, Nicole struck her niece, not once but multiple times. Joshlyn fell, her small body hitting the floor hard.
It was a group of people here, all family, to speak on me backwards. Hey, so where they been at when I've been growing up? I guess I ran away or something. Like, watch, I already know that's what they said. Now I'm not talking anymore. Now since I'm a liar, and since I'm a this, and since I'm a that, and since I'm...
Her head struck something, and she didn't get up. That moment, in that grimy hotel room, Joshlyn's life ended. Instead of calling for help, Nicole made a chilling choice. She folded Joshlyn's tiny body into a suitcase and placed it in the trunk of her car. For over a year, she drove with it, hiding the truth of what she'd done. The little girl who once cared for her brother, who loved to laugh and play, was reduced to a secret Nicole carried alone. But the horror didn't end there. 2 months before police would pull Nicole over, tragedy struck again. Larry, just 5 years old, was fading. Nicole told detectives he had a leg injury and grew tired one day. He lay down to sleep and never woke up. Instead of rushing him to a doctor, Nicole did nothing. When Larry's life slipped away, she placed his body in a plastic tote bag, stacking it beside his sister's suitcase in her car. 2 children, gone, hidden away like forgotten belongings. When police finally uncovered the truth, autopsies revealed a heartbreaking reality. Joshlyn, at 7 years old, weighed only 18 pounds. Larry, at 5, was just 21 pounds. Their bodies told a story of starvation, months of neglect that left them frail and hollow. Experts said it would have taken time for them to waste away like that, their small frames shrinking under Nicole's care. Day after day, she failed to feed them, failed to protect them, letting their lives slip through her hands. On the night of July 28, 2021, a routine traffic stop in Essex, Maryland, shattered the silence of a sleepy street. It was just before 11 p.m. when Baltimore County Police pulled over a car that didn't belong on the road, unregistered, uninsured, and sporting a fake West Virginia license plate. Behind the wheel was Nicole Michelle Johnson, a woman hiding a secret so horrific it would stun the officers and haunt a community. The investigation had uncovered the truth, and the court had spoken. But for the family and community left behind, justice was only a small comfort. Joshlyn and Larry, 2 bright souls, were gone forever. The sentence closed one chapter, but the scars of their loss would linger, a reminder of a tragedy that could have been prevented. The discovery of Joshlyn and Larry's deaths sent shockwaves through Baltimore and beyond. The community reeled, grappling with grief and anger over the loss of 2 young lives. Baltimore County Police Chief Melissa Hyatt called it devastating, a tragedy that left even seasoned officers, forensic technicians and detectives shaken. On a quiet evening, neighbors and strangers gathered for a vigil, lighting candles and whispering prayers for Joshlyn and Larry, their small faces forever etched in the hearts of those who mourned them. Deshelle, the children's mother, poured her pain into words online. She was trying to bring her kids home, she said, when Nicole vanished without a trace. The betrayal cut deep, leaving Deshelle haunted by what-ifs. The children's grandmother, her name kept private, spoke out too, her voice trembling with fury. She wanted both of her daughters, Nicole and Deshelle, held accountable, pointing to a family torn apart by secrets and blame. Questions swirled about whether this tragedy could have been stopped. The Maryland Department of Human Services, which oversees child protective services, stayed silent, citing confidentiality laws. They wouldn't say if anyone had checked on Joshlyn and Larry while they were in Nicole's care. The children's skeletal frames, starved over months, screamed of missed warnings. How had no one noticed? The lack of answers fueled frustration, leaving many to wonder if the system had failed 2 vulnerable kids. The case ripped open bigger truths about broken systems. Families in crisis, like Joshlyn and Larry's, often slip through the cracks. The tragedy sparked urgent calls for better mental health support and stronger child welfare checks. It wasn't just about Nicole, it was about a world where children can waste away unnoticed. Comparisons to other heartbreaking cases of neglect echoed in the news, a grim reminder that society must do more to protect its youngest. Nicole Michelle Johnson's actions stole 2 bright futures. Joshlyn and Larry, entrusted to her care, were failed in the worst way, left to starve, their lives slipping away in silence. Her 50-year sentence brings a measure of justice, but it can't heal the wounds left behind. A mother's grief, a family's betrayal, and a community's sorrow remain. This tragedy, born from neglect and a refusal to seek help, points to failures both personal and systemic. The loss of Joshlyn and Larry is a call to action. It begs us to watch closer, to act faster, to protect the most vulnerable. Their memory lives on, not just in the pain of what happened, but in the demand for change. Baltimore mourns, but it also resolves to do better, to ensure no child is forgotten again.